hope I learned something. I hope I learned something. I hope I learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny days. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny days.
Sorry about that. Things are really going crazy here right now. Um, I practiced several times last night to make sure the connection was working, to make sure my new settings in OBS were correct. Everything worked perfectly. I wake up this morning, I open up all the apps, nothing works. Nothing. I think what happened is, I think that there was a miscoordination between OBS and YouTube about the stream key. Because I noticed when I restarted everything and came back, the stream keys were the old stream keys from yesterday. And I had reset the stream key this morning. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, where are we at right now? You can see over here my core temperature on my CPU is 113 degrees Fahrenheit, 45 degrees centigrade. That's terrific. That's terrific. Anything below 150, in my opinion, you're skating. Anything below 120, and you're doing really well. You can see the system temperature here, temperature inside the box, 104 degrees. Again, doing great. Doing great. So no problems. I'm going to keep an eye on this throughout the event, though. So why are we here? Why are we here? We are here for these. The Bruce Orr 302's. Now, the first few pages of this are nothing more than boilerplate about how the FBI reviewed the pages, although in this case it was the State Department who reviewed the pages, interestingly enough. I don't know what standing they had in this, because it was an FBI/DOJ op between the FBI and Bruce Orr, and the State Department had nothing to do with it. But in doing some reading through this, I think part of it is the meetings between Bruce Orr and Steele occurred overseas with some other people. Some of them, occurred overseas. And Steele, of course, had a lot of overseas meetings with, obviously, U.S. intel people, and they don't want that to get out. Let's catch up with the chat real quickly. Yes, David Audio, thank you for that. I apologize again. I gotta pop up the font size in the chat. And it's also top chat, not live chat, so that's dumb too. Make sure everybody that you put in live chat. Okay, that doesn't work. And that doesn't work. No, I'll have to put up with it. Anyway, John Hartman says, the view out your window is breathtaking. Yes, it is, isn't it? It is. That is a spectacular view of absolutely nothing. But you gotta love the picture over the dresser. Gotta love that one. Which one is that again? Oh yeah, that's Ernst Uter, the greatest dive bombing pilot in the history of the world. Or Udent. Sorry, Udent. Udent. Uh, let's see. David, nice to see some positive thumbs. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you guys for the up thumbs. I really appreciate that. Question, aren't Fredo's corn chips? Yay! Yes, Fredo. Oh my God. For those of you who haven't seen it, give me a one in the chat if you haven't seen the Chris Cuomo blow up video. Because if you haven't, I'll be sure to play it at the end of the stretch here today. It's totally worth it. I downloaded it from That's the Point yesterday, just in case it didn't go through. John and Laura had not seen it. Okay. Okay. And David hasn't seen it either. Okay, folks, it's a date. It's a date. I will do that. Please don't let me forget as I wind down, because you know how my memory is. You know how that is. But I promise we will see it. Not safe for work, everybody, okay? There's some really salty language in there. Not safe for work. So if you got headphones, pull them out. Okay, so let's get to the document, shall we? The enclosed documents, etc., etc., etc. This is all FOIA boilerplate. This section right here, though, these are the items, the laws that were used to put together the exceptions for several of the redactions that were out there. Most of them are from Section 552, as you can see. Some of them I read were from Section 552A, but they don't have any checked here. I don't know exactly what's going on there. You can read all this at your leisure. The link will be in the description, of course. I forgot to put it there already, but I will have it there before this posts. And just real quickly here, this is worth it. In response to your Freedom of Information Privacy Act's FOIPA request, encloses a processed copy of Bates stamped documents, FBI, yada yada, through FBI, yada yada. The enclosed documents represent the final release of information responsive to your request. In other words, you're not going to get any more this redacted stuff. Screw you if you want more than that. And then remember, the Baker files are what the FBI uses to back up claims and corroborations, etc., that are in FISA requests. This was put in place because under Robert Mueller III, when he was FBI director, the FBI was lying through its teeth in order to get FISA requests. Mueller was called on the carpet for it, and one of the mea culpas he had to provide was the Baker files to supposedly keep everything on the straight and narrow. Obviously, it didn't. Bruce Orr's handwritten notes attached to these FD 302's, and that 302, of course, as I said in the opener, is the handwritten notes taken by FBI officers, special agents, after an interview is completed. As there are no live notes taken, although you may be recorded without your knowledge. Ask Bruce Papadopoulos. Bruce? COIPs, attached to these FD302s were previously released to you in response to your FOIA litigation, etc. COIP's release dated December 19, 2018, PDF file 1219, interim response, package parts 1 of 3, pages 31 through 36. In addition, 6 pages were withheld in full in OIP's production pursuant to exceptions, etc., etc. A document titled Manafort Chronology attached to these FD 302's was previously released to you in response to your FOIA litigation, etc. See OIP's release dated July 10, 2019, PDF file, etc., response package, part 18, pages 176 through 181, corresponding bait stamp, etc., etc. Yes, Twitter is, Judicial Watch, thank you, David, is trying to save us all. As Tom Fitton is fond of saying, and I think rightfully so, Judicial Watch is doing all the heavy lifting. Now, there is another agency in town who specializes in FOIA requests, a conservative agency, whose name I suddenly can't remember. But they get a few in time as well. So between Judicial Watch and these other folks, George Papadopoulos. Why did I call him Bruce? George Papadopoulos. Anyway, between these two, a lot gets out. And thanks to them. If you haven't donated even $1 to Judicial Watch, please do so. These people really need your help. And they've got some nice swag, too. Some really nice swag. Okay, now this part... Oops, that's a little too big there. Let's bring that down. There we go. This part basically lists all of the different statutes that are being used to redact certain sections. It's very good, David. It's very good. I like an offer as a discount. I like it. Anyway, the standard response applies all requests. Then you've got the different statutes. Again, USC 552C, National Security Intelligence Records, etc., etc., etc. And again, you can read this at your leisure. This is basically they're saying, here's why we're not going to give you what you asked for. And then here are the specific references to these specific footnotes put after each redaction. And again, read those at your leisure. We know they did it because they don't want you to know it. Why else do we really care? Now again, a few of these I can fill in just through context alone. And if you feel I'm wrong, go ahead and blast me for it in the chat or in the comment section. But I will not try to overstretch that limit. And here we go. Now you can see at the very top here, the secret Orcon, nor foreign, that's all crossed out. Nor foreign, of course, means no foreign eyes. You can't let anybody from a foreign government see this. Okay. Bruce Orr, redacted. Currently the Associate Deputy Attorney General and Director of the Department of Justice's Organized Crime and Drug Enforcement Task Force, OCDEFT, that's almost right down the line of the alphabet, was interviewed at FBI headquarters. After being advised of the identity of the interviewing agent and the nature of the interview, OHR provided the following information. OHR met Steele in 2007, sometime before a January 2008 conference they both attended. OHR remembers he was at a conference when redacted Steele and their first interaction took place prior to that event. Man, I'm really clicking today. Yeah, move the microphone a bit. See if that helps. And their first interaction took place prior to that event. As the chief of DOJ's Organized Crime and Racketeering Section at the time, OHR met with... OHR. That's too hard. It's capitalized, so it's easy to do that. Or met Steele in London at some place. Steele was an expert on Russia, specifically Russian organized crime, and was concerned the West was not taking the Russia threat seriously. Well, they weren't at the time, were they? Obama was laying on his butt, laying on his back, not doing a damn thing. Didn't want to taint Hillary's win. Russian oligarchs are brilliant yet cold-blooded and do not act like adults as they kill people for nothing. Over the years, OHR and Steele had a few more meetings before Orr left and joined or founded Orbis. Steele founded Orbis. I think that's a typo. Before Orr left, I should say before Steele left, MI6 and joined or founded Orbis. Orr and Steele would see each other once a year in London or the U.S. redacted. Steele had paid clients, yet provided Orr with the same short intel reports from a redacted. Orr introduced redacted. Orr believes that redacted. In late July, Orr believes Russian oligarchs will provide information to the FBI because in Russia, everyone talks to the police. In Russia, every police talks to you. Following the 2014 Ukrainian invasion, OHR met redacted. OHR recalled the three talked about engaging with prospective oligarchs, and that meeting led to a meeting between the FBI, redacted. Well, obviously that following the 2014 Ukraine invasion, Orr met, I'm probably saying OHR still, I apologize, Orr met someone and Steele, because Orr recalled the three talked about engaging with prospective oligarchs. And that meeting led to a meeting between the FBI, probably MI6, Bruce Orr, and Christopher Steele. I'm guessing there. Yeah, that was pretty bad, wasn't it, Skullcram? I used to have my Russian accent used to be pretty good, but lately it sounds more Transylvanian. See, it just immediately devolved into a Transylvanian accent. It's terrible. It's terrible. I gotta stop doing that kind of stuff. It's pathetic. In late July 2016, possibly Saturday, July 30, 2016, Steele called Orr and asked to meet for breakfast, as she, cute, was in Washington, D.C., and had some serious stuff to talk about. Steele planned to also tell Special Agent Blank about the information she had collected. Orr met Steele for breakfast, where Orr was told that Carter Page had met with high-level officials in Russia. Well, we all know Carter Page met with high-level officials in Russia because Carter Page did high-level business in Russia. But no, if it's a Russian, it has to be nefarious. Skullcram, moose and squirrel. Moose and squirrel. Thank you. David Von Kettering, change enemies and lose the accent for an Arabic one. Very good. Very good. I think my Arabian accent's even worse, however. I just can't do them anymore. I haven't practiced in ages. I used to do impressions when I was a kid, and I was pretty good at it. Back to comedy jokes. We're right here. Page met with Sechin and one other person. The media had already documented Page's trip to Moscow at that time. The FSB had Trump over a barrel. Be interesting to see what the rest of that is. And as Skullcram pointed out quite succinctly, redacted yes, erased no. Very well put. Hopefully, anyway. Redacted reported to redacted. In addition, redacted was furious at redacted, and was making a case against him. Redacted were almost ready to talk to the U.S. about the money Redacted stole. Redacted claimed he had already given some of this reporting to Special Agent Blank. That's got to be Steele there for the claimed. We don't know who the FBI agent is. And planned to give the rest to him. At that time, Steele had provided Redacted with 2 reports regarding these topics, while Glenn Simpson had 4, or provided copies of notes he took during and after the meeting with Redacted, which are enclosed as attachments. And again, I'm sure that's Steele. Orr knew Glenn Simpson hired Steele to dig up Trump's connections to Russia. Orr's wife is a Russian translator and was hired to conduct some open source research. Even though she did not know the goal of the project, she was able to surmise the purpose, as the individuals she was researching were close to Trump. Orr knew that Glenn Simpson was hired by a lawyer who does opposition research. Orr knew Steele's reporting on Trump's ties to Russia were going to the Clinton campaign. John Weiner at the U.S. State Department and the FBI. Orr was aware that Simpson was passing redacted information to many individuals or entities, and at times Steele would attend meetings with Simpson. Redacted information. Opposition research. Interesting. Orr met Simpson in Washington, D.C. in late September, possibly close to the time when the Yahoo News article was published on September 23, 2016. During that meeting, Steele advised the Alpha server in the U.S. is a link to the Trump campaign, and Sergei Million's Russian-American organization in the U.S. used the Alpha server 2 weeks prior, redacted. Steele was desperate that Donald Trump not get elected and was passionate about him not being the U.S. president. Orr believes Steele wanted to blunt or foil the Kremlin's plans. Simpson and Steele could have met with Yahoo or Michael Isikoff jointly, but Orr does not know if they did. I don't know if I met with a major newspaper publisher, online newspaper at least, with Christopher Steele and gave an interview about the dossier. I don't remember that. Wow. Orr's still having a job. Yes, I'm pretty sure he does, David. Let's look it up just to make sure. But let's see. No, I'm not down.
Okay.
Is Bruce Orr still employed by Oops. No, he was at DOJ. All right, let's see this story here. What's the date on it? June 14th, 2019. He's still working. Okay, here's my take on why Orr is working. As I understand, he is a civil employee, which means he is in the Federal Civil Employees Union, which means he's basically untouchable unless they can prove he committed espionage. And I don't think any of this work says he did. So, That's my take on it. Did not know if they did. So right here. Or provided copies of notes he took after the meeting with Steele, which are enclosed as attachments. Or never believed Steele was making up information or shading it. She would say, this is what Russians, I'm sure, are telling me. There are always Russian conspiracy theories that come from the Kremlin. One time, Orr heard a theory from redacted, Orr honestly believes Steele reported what he heard from Russian oligarchs, Russian sources, but that doesn't make that story true. Somebody with a level head. John Wiener possibly knew Christopher Steele and or Christopher Steele the SA, the special agent, and or met Weiner in 1999 or 2000 when watching organized crime and enthusiastic about the subject, yet at times difficult to deal with. Or knew Glenn Simpson and others were talking to Victoria Nuland at the U.S. State Department. The following contact information for redacted. Well, I'm surprised we don't see that. Yeah, possibly Misfit, although that meeting they're referring to was in like late 90, early 2000, late 99, early 2000. So I shouldn't even say late or early, just 99 or 2000. And I don't know if Misfit was a thing with the FBI then. He wouldn't have had a lot to do with it since he wasn't necessarily a Russian guy. Said he was, but he wasn't. Bruce Orr, redacted, currently the Associate Deputy Attorney General and Director of the Department of Justice's Organized Crime and Drug Enforcement Task Force, OCDETF, was interviewed at FBI headquarters. After being advised of the identity of the interviewing agent and the nature of the interview, Orr provided the following information. Orr has never redacted. On one occasion, Orr met with redacted, large redaction, basically an entire paragraph. Orr has never been present during meetings with redacted and John Weiner, or Wiener. I should say Weiner. That's got to be Steele and Weiner. Orr is only aware that Steele and Weiner have met as blank advises Orr that the meetings occur. Glenn Simpson directed Steele to speak to the press, as that was what Simpson was paying Steele to do. Orr does not know if Steele going to Mother Jones was Simpson's idea or not. Glenn Simpson hired Orr's wife to conduct research for his firm. Orr will voluntarily provide his wife's research to the FBI. Orr provided the interviewing agent with a report on Paul Manafort. The report, titled Manafort Chronology, was scanned and is a digital attachment to this document. Okay. Let's see. I should say the dates of these 302's. This one is dated 12/19/2016. The others were obviously sometime before that. You know, let's do that real fast. Control F, entry. So we've got 12/27, 12/19, 12/19, 1/31. And then 2 in January, 2 in February 2017, 3 in March. Okay. Let's see, is that where we're at? Yeah, okay, good, we're back. All right, let me close this. Bruce Orr, okay, we did that. Orr had breakfast at Peet's Coffee, P-E-E-T, apostrophe S, Coffee, 11th and East Street, Northwest Washington, D.C., with Glenn Simpson at 10 a.m. on December 10, 2016. During breakfast, Simpson provided Orr with an 8 GB verbatim USB micro digital media drive, thumb drive. Okay, if they're going to be that specific about it, here you go. Here's what they're talking about. These are verbatim 8 GB thumb drives, no caps, they retract into the body. You can buy 5 of them for $18 a piece. So obviously Bruce Orr was sparing no expense when he passes digital media on to his favorite patsies. So I just had to do that. I had to do that. Orr does not know what is on the thumb drive, but believes that it's in regards to the work Steele was hired to do for Simpson. The thumb drive was entered into evidence at WFO, Washington Field Office, as original evidence. Redacted and a working copy CD-ROM was produced for investigative use, and an evidence FD302 was generated and serialized to this file. Orr took notes after the meeting with Simpson to preserve his memory and referred to them during the interview. Orr's notes are an attachment to this document. Simpson identified Michael Cohen, a lawyer in Brooklyn, New York, as having many Russian clients in Brighton Beach, New York area. Guess what? If you do business in Brighton Beach, you're going to have a lot of Russian clients. They don't call it Little Moscow for nothing. Cohen is the go-between between Russia and the Trump campaign and replaced Paul Manafort and Carter Page. Right. Which is why you kept hounding Carter Page for another, year? To the end of 2017. And you hounded Paul Manafort into jail and demanded he sing and compose for you. That's how he was replaced. Cohen's wife's last name is Schusterman. Redacted. I wonder if that's got anything to do with Cohen's father-in-law. I wonder. Cohen may have attended a meeting in Prague, possibly in September, regarding the Trump campaign and the Russians. Right. The Prague meeting. So I skipped right over that. The Prague meeting, which never happened. The FBI just had to go to the DOJ and search Cohen's passport record and the visa or entry records of any of the countries in Europe around that day, including the UK, because you've got the Channel train, the Channel Tunnel train. I refuse to call it the Channel. That's derogatory. But could have gotten there in any number of methods if he'd flown into the contiguous Euro UK area. That would not have been that hard. According to Simpson, much of his collection about the Trump campaign ties to Russia comes from, I would say, Christopher Steele and some oligarch. Simpson does not know his name. A former Trump campaign official, probably Rick Wilson, was talking about some of the Trump ties to Russia, and the Trump campaign tried to sue him for violating his non-disclosure agreement. Neither confirming or denying the story was true, Wilson was talking out of turn and got slapped with an NDA. or an NDV, because he screwed up. That's what that was for. It wasn't trying to hide anything. It was trying to let everyone else in the campaign know, do something like this, and we'll come after you too. It's very simple. It's like defending a trademark or a patent. If someone infringes on said trademark or patent, and you don't fight it, you give up the right to keep that item. You are required by law to defend your property. So if Trump doesn't defend, if the Trump campaign doesn't defend their NDAs and their legality surrounding the campaign, why should anyone else bother to pay attention to them? A Russian senator and mobster named Torshin may be involved in running the Central Bank of Russia. Torshin's name comes up in law enforcement organized crime circles, as he is well known in a famous Spanish case that shows direct linkages between Russian organized crime, Torshin, and the Russian government. Torshin may have funneled Russian money to the National Rifle Association to use in support of Trump. Well, we know that is a complete lie. Oh gosh, I was just reading the story last night. Butina. It wasn't Natalia, I don't think. Natasha Butina, the hot Russian cutie. Sorry, girls, I'm a guy. The hot Russian cutie who was supposedly sleeping her way around Washington in the upper levels of the NRA to get dirt for the Russians and help facilitate the quid quo pros between Russia and said organizations after the dump of cash from Russia. Total BS. Total. She was convicted of a crime. She was convicted ultimately, I believe, of like a FARA violation, and I think only got a light jail sentence. But they were going after her for the whole hog, and none of it was true. And this is part of that lie right here. This is where it came from. Fucking, sorry, pardon my language. Freaking Glenn, or not Glenn Simpson, Christopher Steele. An NRA lawyer, redacted, found out about the money pipeline and was very upset, but the election was over by the time she learned of it. Simpson stated there are pictures of Torshin with Trump. It says or Torshin there. Pictures of Torshin with Trump. Simpson provided or with an article on the NRA and Torshin. The article is an attachment to this document, and I'm sure it's completely above board and correct. Skullcram makes an excellent point. Trademarks and patents only apply to companies. As an individual, you have no way of proving your patent without spending your life fortune, and they can keep you in court for generations. I understand that completely. I have heard woeful tales of that. You see those services on TV, hey, you've got a great idea, let's help you get your patent. I understand those, for the most part, to be complete money sinks and scams. Not saying all of them are crooks. I don't know that for a fact. But I have heard that some of them are nothing more than money sinks. How a single person is supposed to get a patent that they can protect, I have no idea. I suppose it would take some fair amount of initial seed money to get you over that hump. Correct me if I'm wrong. New paragraph. Some of Simpson's staff believe the NRA spent an abnormally large amount of money during the election, possibly indicating Russian involvement, but others in his company disagree. Yeah, how about the fact that they were worried that a complete gun grabber like Hillary would get into office, and therefore they needed all hands on deck in order to prevent that from happening and do everything they could to get Trump elected? You think maybe that was the reason? Jeez. Skullcram says that if it's on TV, it's a scam. Thank you. Thank you, Skullcram. I appreciate that. New paragraph. The New York Times story from October 3, 2016, that downplayed the connection between Alpha Bank service and the Trump campaign was incorrect. There was communication, and it wasn't spam. Oh, bull crap. Everybody knows the Alpha Bank and Trump server story is a complete fallacy, just a miasma of bullcrap tried to design to make it look like there were nefarious events going on. If there were illegal transactions going on, where's your proof? Beyond a few flickers of data back and forth that happened with other IPs as well. They keep leaving that part out. Alpha Bank communicated in the same way with other IPs as well. So does that mean they're doing illegal business with all those other people? No. No, it means you're a conspiracy theorist of the highest order, yet whenever Republicans come up with an idea, or just people on the right, maybe not Republicans, that is a general term, or that is a specific term that should not be used to generalize. But people on the right, they come up with any kind of a, if this happened, this could happen. Conspiracy theorists, you're out of bounds, you're promoting hate, and you're going to get somebody killed. Yet, the left can run with stuff like the Alpha server bit, or just the whole Russian interference tied to Trump thing in general, and no one says a word. And they certainly don't apologize for it afterwards. Freaking double standards. New paragraph. Simpson received a bizarre tip on December 9 that the redacted. Simpson is not sure whether to believe this. Simpson still thinks Sergei Millian is a key figure connecting Trump to Russia. Looking at Millian led Simpson's company to Cohen. Simpson would be surprised if Millian was still in the U.S. Simpson believes Millian is an SVR officer. However, he is deducing this from Millian's aliases, not because he was told Millian was SVR. Conspiracy theory. Millian may have overseen many financial transfers from Russia to assist the Trump campaign. Okay, may have, might be, deduced from, complete wiggle words, complete smoke and mirrors. Millian, if you recall, was the friend of George Papadopoulos that the FBI used as a ruse to get Papadopoulos to come in and interview without a lawyer. They went to Papadopoulos' house, rung the doorbell unannounced, uninvited. Papadopoulos is in the shower, for crying out loud. They say, "Hey, we're the FBI. We want to talk to you about your friend." Well, Millian had just been in the paper like the day before, 2 days before tops. So George says, "Yeah, of course, I'll go with you." He figures he'll be able to clear up some misconceptions about Millian, tell them what he knows, and he'll be out of there. They get to the FBI office, and the FBI agents immediately turn on him and say, "We're not here to talk about your friend. We're here to talk about you and what you know about Hillary Clinton and Russian emails." Words to that effect. Turn on a dime and get in his face. Put him on his back feet, from which he never recovered. That's the FBI rank and file for you. All of them? I hate having to say this, but it's come up for years now. Not all FBI rank and file are out there to try and trip you up and to goad you into perjuring yourself. But there are enough of them during the Russia counterintelligence campaign against Trump and his staff and his friends and his family. There's enough of that out there to make you wonder just how many aren't like that. Simpson asked Redacted to speak to the Mother Jones reporter as it was Simpson's Hail Mary attempt. Well, it's got to be Steele then. Or asked Simpson if he was concerned about his personal safety. Simpson responded that he learned from his Russian investigative reporting what they were capable of, but there was no way for him to know if they were coming after him. Simpson mentioned that someone called and asked him to find out where all of the... I'm going to try that again. Help me out here. But that was the impression made upon Orr based upon the timing of the comment and using that story as a response to Orr's question. Okay, all right. They had Simpson in the beginning of it, and then it was all about Orr at the end. That really threw me. Got it. Thank you for letting me do that. Okay, and here's the December 27th-ish interview, July 2016. This is all preamble we've read before, so let's get into it here. On December 20, 2016, at 11 a.m., Orr provided Ryder with an 8 gigabyte SanDisk Cruiser Glide USB micro digital data storage data. Wow, I read thumb drive and screwed me up. Data storage drive, thumb drive. We don't need to see that, do we? I think we understand what these things look like. Glenn Simpson at Fusion GPS hired Orr's wife, Nellie Orr, to conduct research for his firm. Orr voluntarily provided his wife's research to the FBI. Orr provided the interviewing agent with the thumb drive and indicated it contained the totality of the work Nellie Orr conducted for Simpson, but the Fusion GPS header was stripped. Nellie Orr is a Russian linguist analyst and a former Russian history professor. The thumb drive was entered into evidence. This makes me wonder if my Russian history professor from college ever stepped into the realm of deep state espionage. It's possible. Guy certainly knew his stuff. Now we all know what kind of trouble Nellie is in now. A few months ago, at least a couple months ago, Nellie was rung up on lying to Congress, lying to the FBI about her meetings with the DOJ. She said that it had been, once or twice, when in fact it was something over a dozen or dozens. I should have looked up the specific case. I just recalled it. But she's crawling under the bed right now, trying to hide from all this. The thumb drive was entered into evidence. Bruce Orr, redacted, currently the Associate Deputy Attorney General and Director. Oh, this is a new one. Sorry. This is January 31st, 2017. Okay, here we go. On January 20, 2017, Orr received an email from Glenn Simpson asking Orr to contact Simpson. Orr subsequently contacted Simpson telephonically. During the telephonic conversation, Simpson told Orr that one of the redacted had been identified and will likely be publicly named by the media within the next couple of days. So I'm guessing that's a dossier source or a Russian oligarch source. Big redaction When Orr asked for more information regarding Redacted and the nature of the threat, Simpson replied he would contact Steele for more information and then recontact Orr. I knew this was going to happen, folks. I knew it. Right there. They used Steele's name in the 302, and they didn't redact it. I knew that was going to happen. Now, can you suddenly infer from this one name what fits into all the boxes we've just put it into? Maybe, maybe not. But it's a beautiful little screw-up that you knew the government was going to provide. It's like they don't know how to do a Control-F, find and replace. That's not Control-F. What is that? Control-R, I think. In the early hours of January 21, 2017, Orr received a text message from Steele, which Orr did not notice until later in the morning. Around 8 a.m. on the same day, Orr received call from Steele. During this conversation, Steele relayed his concerns regarding the safety of Redacted. Steele also told Orr that he spoke with a staff member of Senator John McCain's office sometime prior to October 2016. Steele had this conversation at the request of Redacted. There we go with Steele again. Since October 2016, Steele had not spoken to anyone regarding the Trump dossier. So is this after Steele had been outed, I think? If that's the case, why has he redacted in all of the other ones? Where are we at here? 127. All right, let me write this down. Cat knocked my best pen onto the floor yesterday and I can't find it. All right, 127, 17. Okay. Let's go up a few pages here. Okay, so B7E-4 is the reason they didn't provide Steele's name right there. So B7E would disclose techniques and procedures for law enforcement investigations or prosecutions, or would disclose guidelines for law enforcement investigations or prosecutions if such disclosure could reasonably be expected to risk circumvention of the law. Techniques and procedures for investigations, law enforcement investigations, or prosecutions. Interesting. That doesn't make any real difference according to what we're talking about. In my view, anyway. Please feel free to correct me on that. There we go. Oh, I see what happened. There we go. Okay. Just double check. Yeah, y'all had mentioned McCain. Yep. Now, it's possible that the redacted name up above was not necessarily, in fact, here we've got, this was scratched out, but it says, Redacted was released in, it should be on the media. Steele stated if Redacted may need help quickly, Whatever Orr is supposed to do about that, I don't know. But Simpson told Orr that one of blank had been identified. So it could be like one of McCain's staffers, or one of the media sources. No, a media source wouldn't make any sense. But a John McCain staffer, that would make sense. And Laura Weekly, they added Steele because he gave them a name that was a known source. But since, absolutely. Feed. And I apologize for any buffering. Okay, let's get back to it. On January 24, 2017, Orr received a WhatsApp notification from Christopher Steele. On January 25, 2017, Steele contacted and spoken with Orr via WhatsApp. There's a huge redaction. It's probably the WhatsApp text. Orr took notes during the contact with Steele to preserve his memory and referred to them during the interview. Orr's notes are an attachment to this document. Here's a short one. On January 27, 2017, Orr received a WhatsApp notification from Christopher Steele indicating redacted and Steele would like to keep the line of communication open with Orr for future contact. Orr replied in the affirmative. Aha, okay. I'm 90% positive that person indicating the line of communication being kept open was the special agent who had been running Steele. I'm almost positive of that. Open with Orr for future contact. Orr replied in the affirmative. Again, if I keep doing the OHR thing, I apologize. It's hard not to when it's capitalized like that. Bruce Orr, yep, we did, that's already the boilerplate. This is from 2/8, 2017. The two before were from 1/27, 2017. Okay. Starting here. Orr stated that he had been contacted by Christopher Steele via WhatsApp on January 31, 2017. So Steele's going to the FBI immediately after all these contacts. Thank you for the thumbs up, David. Appreciate it. So yeah, Steele's going to the FBI directly. He realizes the situation he's been put in by Steele and Glenn Simpson and his wife, and he needs to keep his nose clean. This may be another reason that he hasn't been fired, because he cooperated with the FBI fully once he was contacted. Not happy with his actions at all. I suppose they could be explained away by a good civil service attorney. Let's start over. Orr stated that he had been contacted by Christopher Steele via WhatsApp on January 31, 2017. On January 30, 2017, the Trump administration fired Acting Attorney General Sally Q. Yates, and Steele had contacted Orr to determine if Orr anticipated being fired as well, and, if so, who in the Department of Justice could he continue to reach out to. Orr added that he had previously explained to Steele at some point his contact with the U.S. government would have to involve the FBI. Interviewing agents asked Orr to ask Steele if he would be comfortable getting the name of an FBI agent. How pathetic. How pathetic that they're still running this guy months after they fired him. And using Bruce Orr as their go-between. I'm reminded of 4th grade when I got my first girlfriend. And it was the typical girlfriend of the girl walks up to me and says, Karen likes you. Do you like Karen? Yeah, I like Karen a lot. Okay. He likes you a lot. Well, tell him I like him a lot too. And it goes on until finally you have a date at the snow cone stand and you have the summer of your life. And then she moves and crushes your heart. Karen, if you're out there, still love you. Back to the reality. Or advised Kathleen Kavalek, Deputy Assistant Secretary, Bureau of European and Eurasian Affairs, U.S. Department of State, would be meeting redacted representatives in order to discuss potential Russian influence in their upcoming presidential elections, possibly Ukrainian, or reminded the interviewing agents Kavalek did speak with Steele several times prior to the 2016 U.S. presidential election and believes Steele's reporting to have generated from mainly, if I remember Kavalek properly, this would be from mainly crap sources. Or his imagination, perhaps. Or also advised Redacted, an attorney representing Redacted, explained his client felt redacted. Redacted were completely complicated by the FBI, who he felt viewed him as a criminal. On 2/6/2017, sorry, this is all crossed out, and it's written above it. There are writings above it, and it's hard to parse which is which. On 2/6/2017, 2 of 2 would like, okay, that's the page. This is so screwed up. I'm just gonna go with what it's written. An attorney representing blank explained his client felt redacted were recently complicated by the FBI, who he felt viewed him as a criminal, informed or that redacted would like to clean things up, and felt the circumstances surrounding the 2016 U.S. presidential election had become quote-unquote too emotional, or stated as he understood it, Redacted was informed of what was required during the FBI interview. I think that cross out is actually a formatting error. Drop the header down too far. All right, back to more comedy jokes. We are right here. Or stated, the date. This is 2/15/2017. Or stated he had been contacted by Christopher Steele via WhatsApp and or responded via FaceTime on 2/11/2017. Steele advised Orr that redacted, or added redacted. Steele's company is continuing to work for both Redacted, another attorney for Redacted. However, Orr explained Steele is beginning to worry about his business and was preparing a Redacted to broker a business relationship with the FBI. Steele advised Orr, "You may see me re-emerge in a couple of weeks." Broker a business relationship with the FBI. Dude, the FBI paid you for months before you screwed up and went to the press. At Glenn Simpson's request, perhaps not, but still, you blew it, and you want to recontact them and get a new business relationship? If it had been the no difference, the Clinton FBI, oh yeah, he'd have been on the payroll big time. Or responded he had yet to ask Steele if he would like to be provided with an FBI contact. Or also advised Redacted was doing fine, but were still a bit freaked out. However, it seemed to Steele that things were calming down, and he was pleased about a recent CNN article that stated U.S. government investigations had confirmed some of the reporting in his dossier, which is a complete and total lie. Of course. Okay, or advised redacted was doing fine. That might still be the agent that was Steele's cutout. I'm sorry, or was Steele's cutout. Steele's direct report. On 5/8, this is from 5/10/2017. This is a new one. On 5/8/2017, Special Agent Redacted and Supervising Special Agent Redacted interviewed Bruce Orr, Redacted. Now, that's all the boilerplate. I screwed up. Okay, starting at the next paragraph. Orr and Steele communicated via text message and WhatsApp and arranged a call for 5/3/2017 at 8 a.m. Steele told Orr that business was good. Steele had been worried about Director Comey's upcoming testimony to Congress, especially his response to questions that would be raised by Representative Grassley. Steele was specifically concerned about anything Director Comey would say, redacted. Redacted, Steele was happy with Director Comey's response. In a previous conversation, Steele had expressed concern for redacted. Steele informed Orr that the disclosure laws in the UK were more narrow than in the United States, and therefore limited his ability to testify before Congress. Steele cited specifically that he was restricted from redacted. Redacted and had been on the staff of the Redacted. At the time of the interview, Redacted was working with the Redacted. David Von Kettering says, Com and Isikoff are media reports. Yes, that's right. That's right, media reports. Yeah, BuzzFeed and Mother Jones got the exact same information from the exact same person. Sorry, Korn. The font is so tiny. Here, I read that wrong. Yeah. But Korn and Isikoff, for their respective rags, reported the same things, basically. And so the FISA court was told, see, we've got independent corroboration from the media. We're good to go. Liars. Let me check my temperature real quick here. What are we doing? 115 and 106. Awesome. Might be more if I was running. I'm sorry, it would be more if I was running video, but still good. Oh, for those of you who don't know, I had a massive computer crash about a week ago. Ripped apart my boot drive completely. I lost everything. Everything. For some reason, Windows was not even letting me try to go back to previous backups to reload the software. That's how screwed up it was. And I know that's supposed to be hard baked in. And I have a recovery drive right here. And I know how to use it. Still didn't work. Massive blow up. Now my C drive is on a solid state, so I'm not worried about age. But I did replace one other drive just in case. Enough about that. As Picasso knows would say, moving on. Okay, so at the time of the interview, Redacted was working with the Redacted. Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS and Redacted would be visiting Steele soon, and were in the process of, quote-unquote, lawyering up. Jonathan Weiner was bringing over a letter separately. Steele was interested in working with the FBI and had additional information if the FBI was interested. Okay, this is 5/12/2017. Steele sent Orr a text message in WhatsApp sometime around Tuesday, and they set up a call via WhatsApp for Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Over the course of their telephone call, Steele informed Orr that he had received a letter from the Senate Intelligence Committee. The letter requested answers to the following questions. Had Steele provided information to the U.S. government? What was the scope of Steele's investigation? Did Steele have any additional information to provide? Steele mentioned that the SIC was considering sending staffers to the UK. Redacted requested that Orr ask Steele if he would be willing to have a conversation with FBI agents in the UK. Orr agreed to pass along the message. Again, that's got to be Steele's FBI handler, or at least ostensibly his handler. All right, so let's go to, this is from 5/16/2017. Christopher Steele sent Orr a text message in WhatsApp on or around Friday, 5/12/2017. The two set up a call via WhatsApp for Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Per FBI's previous request, Orr asked Steele if he would be willing to meet with FBI agents. Steele responded that the answer was an immediate yes, but that he would need to check with redacted. Orr was clear that this would be nothing more than a conversation with the FBI and Steele, with the FBI, and Steele said that would be all right. Steele informed Orr that he had information regarding a conversation between redacted. Steele contacted Orr via WhatsApp at 9:45 a.m. on Monday, 5/15. Steele said that redacted were both okay with him talking to the FBI. I wonder if one of them is Glenn Simpson. It's completely possible, because if they can mention Steele now, but not mention him earlier, then they could have mentioned Simpson then and not mention him now, due to an ongoing investigation being taken right now in regards to this part of the conversations between Orr and the FBI and Steele and Simpson. I'm guessing, but I suppose it's possible. Excellent point here. David Von Kettering says, everyone else gets arrested when they lie to the FBI, sometimes even when they don't. Absolutely. George Papadopoulos, my touchstone. He got the dates wrong of when he met Misfud. Got him wrong by 2 weeks. A year after he had met him, being questioned without any access to his calendar or his notes, and they charged him with that. Meanwhile, Misfud lies 3 times in one interview, directly lies. Nothing happens. No double standard whatsoever. Don't even get me started about mid-year exam. That's the alpha. That's the apogee of this kind of crap. And we're right here. Supervising Special Agent Blank told Orr that he would communicate with headquarters regarding FBI agents meeting with Steele and let him know when he received a response. That's it for the 302's. What we have here now is the NRA quote-unquote expose regarding Butinov and upper echelon NRA people. That didn't happen. Now, I will say right now, the NRA is in a turmoil. When Picasso Knows and I were at the NRA annual meeting in Indianapolis earlier this year, the first speaker was Ollie North. The first NRA speaker was Ollie North. And Ollie North basically, subtly, announced that he was starting a coup against the president, Wayne LaPierre, and some of his higher-ups. It was squashed immediately, but for some reason you're still seeing, you're still seeing North videos on the NRA YouTube channel. So he has not been thrown into the memory hole, which I guess shows some level of, democratic responsibility by the NRA. But there is still an ongoing battle because there are people on the board who feel the NRA upward area is not being completely transparent with the finances. Whether or not that has something to do with this, I don't know. But it is an ongoing battle. Several board members have quit. I believe one of the head lawyers has quit. Just between you and me, Wayne LaPierre has not been the favorite son of a lot, I'm not saying percentage-wise, but of a lot of NRA members for some years now. I won't go into why. That's not me to say. But there it is. And David says, Oily North is also deep state. Oh, good Lord, yes. Yes, you couldn't get much deeper than Ollie. Certainly not back in the 90s, 80s and 90s. Never listened to his radio show. I have no idea what it was like. Probably just trying to be another G. Gordon Liddy. So let's see what else we've got here. You guys can read this article on the NRA and Butina. Just give her first name here. Butina. No, just there's torsion again. No name. Just her last name. Okay, so what do we got? I didn't look too closely after this. There are none of the notes. Okay, here we go. There are none of the Bruce Orr notes that they promised would be attached. So there you have it. Now I have not forgotten the promised video. So let's wrap up here and we'll end on that. So basically what we've got here is it's shown that Bruce Orr is an idiot, and a compliant idiot, but he also knows when he's in trouble and goes to the FBI when necessary. And I think that's another that's another thing in his favor with the DOJ, is that he did cooperate with the FBI. I think I mentioned that earlier, and he cooperated fairly quickly. So good for him. Is he smart? No, he's not smart. Anyone who would act as a go-between between a British spy carrying documents supposedly provided by Russian oligarchs, the most dangerous people on earth, according to Steele and Simpson, then what do you think you're doing? Seriously, putting yourself in danger. Did anyone else have a takeaway from this? Because while I'm waiting for that, I'll go ahead and prepare the projector. I was an AV nerd in high school and in grade school, for that matter. I was an AV nerd all my life. My first job out of college was being an AV nerd. I put myself through college being an AV nerd. So there you go. David says Joe Biden's only living son is a Ukrainian oligarch now. I know I'm lying, but that's actually pretty true. He was paid how much by them? $50,000 a month to sit on a board? If that's not at least proto-oligarch, I don't know what is. Let's check the temperature one more time. Excellent. I put a second fan in right after I had that crash and started rebuilding the computer. Put a second CPU fan in, and it seems to really be doing the job. But again, I don't know for sure it was heat that caused the crash to begin with. I couldn't say. I was in the middle of crunching a very big video. In fact, what I was doing was I was trying to stitch together the disparate parts of the second Democratic debate so you could watch it in just one run without having to skip between the different areas. And I tried doing that twice, and the second time the computer locked up and ate its lunch and then threw it up all over the place. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Oh, no, let's back that up. Okay. No such thing as too many fans, David. No such thing. In fact, I read a parody article years and years and years ago. I think it was on somethingawful.com about PCers called fanners. And it was a takeoff on the guys who soup up their Mitsubishi Eclipses and things like that. You know, it's a disparaging term, forgive me, but still. They're called ricers. They soup up their Japanese cars. They were called fanners because they souped up their computers with fans. It's pretty hilarious. I've never done liquid cooling. Nitro, I love it. Yes, they really blow those things out. Okay, so I can't start this and pause it right away because it begins immediately, and I don't want to screw it up. So I'll have the soundboard open, and I'll check to make sure that it plays at the right volume. If it's not, of course, shout it out in the chat. This is footage of Chris Cuomo at some event in New York, and he is confronted, as far as I can tell, politely by a guy who asks if he is Fredo Cuomo. Hilarity ensues. Here we go. Oh, for crying out loud.
You're gonna have a fucking problem.
What? What are you gonna do about it?
I'll fucking ruin your shit.
Then.
I'll fucking throw you down these stairs like a fucking punk.
I thought that's who you were.
No, punk ass bitches from the right call me Fredo. My name is Chris Cuomo. I'm an anchor on CNN. Fredo is from The Godfather. He was that weak brother.
I know it was you, Fredo.
And they use it as an Italian aspersion. Any of you Italian? Are you Italian? It's a fucking insult to your people. It's an insult to your fucking people. It's like the N-word for us. Is that a cool fucking thing?
Notice his accent. Suddenly it's a tough guy New York, bottom of the Brooklyn accent. He doesn't talk like that on TV at all. Even when he gets upset. Yet right here, it's Brooklyn tough guy. It's Robert De Niro in Goodfellas. What are you going to do? Actually, no, it's Joe Pesci. Robert De Niro is part Irish. But Joe Pesci in Goodfellas. That's where he goes. Okay, continuing.
You're a much more reasonable guy in person than you seem to be on television.
Yeah, but if you want to play, then we'll fucking play. If you got something you want to say about what I do on television, then say it. But don't be call me a
Hey
fucking
man,
insult.
hey, listen.
What?
I don't want any problems.
Yeah, you're gonna have a big fucking problem.
What's the
It's
problem?
a little different on TV. Don't fucking insult me like that.
I didn't insult you.
You call me Fredo. It's like I call you punk bitch. You like that? You want that to be your nickname?
I didn't call you that.
You called me Fredo. You know my name's not fucking
I
Fredo.
thought your name was.
You did not think my name was fucking Fredo. Don't be a liar.
thought your
You
name
want to be a
was.
man, stand up like a man.
I'm standing up, man.
You want to be a man, I'm
Yeah,
here.
I'm standing
Then
up.
fucking own it. Then own what you said.
Hey,
then own what you said.
Listen,
Take
man,
them.
I don't
Yeah,
have
what?
a problem with you, man.
You're gonna have a fucking
Takes
problem.
off the glasses.
I'll fucking ruin your shit.
something then.
I'll
Do
fucking
something.
throw you down these stairs like a fucking punk.
Please do.
Why?
Come
So
on,
you
you
can
don't wanna
fucking
do
sue?
that. You don't
So
wanna
you
do
can
that.
fucking sue?
Well, why don't you do it
Go
then?
take a swing. You wanna call me Fredo? Take a fucking swing.
not gonna swing
Take
at
a
you.
fucking
I'm
swing.
not
Watch your
gonna
fucking hands.
I'm not gonna
Take a
swing.
swing. Watch your
Hey,
fucking
I'm not
hands.
gonna
Take a
swing.
swing. No, come on, boy. Come on, boy. So you wanna call me shit? Call me shit then.
Hey, listen, man,
I'm right
I'm
fucking
not
here.
doing anything.
I'll fucking wreck your shit. I'll fucking wreck your shit.
Stop.
You didn't know what you were doing when
I
you
thought
called
it
me
was your
Fredo?
name, man.
You didn't know.
I thought it was your name.
You didn't know, right? Hey, you didn't know what you were saying, right?
I thought it was his name.
I'm breaking it up. Here's a little intrigue. I wanted to be like Wonder Woman, and I'm gonna wear a shirt that says it.
You broke my heart. You broke my heart.
What's with the air kisses? So many more questions.
And there you have it. Hey, Uncle Bobbity, welcome at the end. Thanks for coming by. Uncle Bobbity knows this video very well. He's seen it several times. Oh gosh. Let me just fast forward or go forward a little bit to Chris's face. Let's see right here. Get a good look at it. Let's see, here we go. Move your hand, idiot. Sorry, the angle's not good right there, but you could see the rage in his face. You could feel the veins bulging out of his lip or his neck and his forehead and his temples. You could just see that. I hope nobody got in trouble at work for that, but it was worth it, wasn't it? It was worth it. Chris Cuomo for the win, folks. So, let's finish up with some media reaction to this. Go to my old standard. Let's see, is it up here on the... Nope, not up there. Okay, I'm going to have to leave the advertisements off, otherwise I'll dox myself when I sign in. But let's get a couple of good articles here. I want to find CNN's. Maybe it's here with the Trump. President Trump weighs in. I haven't seen this one yet. On Tuesday morning, President Donald Trump weighed in on CNN host Chris Cuomo's freakout after a heckler called him the name Fredo, a much-used reference from the Godfather films. "I thought Chris was Fredo also," snarked the president, captioning a video of the incident. "The truth hurts. Totally lost it." Trump also took a swing at Cuomo's network, writing, "Low ratings CNN." Oh my God! And Trump retweeted the tweet from Ryan Saavedra, who is a writer for the Daily Wire. About an hour after Trump's post, the president added in a separate tweet, "Would Chris Cuomo have been given a red flag for his recent rant? Filthy language and a total loss of control. He shouldn't be allowed to have any weapon. He's nuts." Trump was referencing proposed red flag laws. We know what that's all about. In the video, which was secretly taped without Cuomo's knowledge, initially the CNN host is confronting a man for calling him Fredo. New York is a one-party state, so you can record other people all you want. You don't have to have their consent. Sorry about that, Chris. Without Cuomo's knowledge, initially the CNN host is confronting a man for calling him Fredo. "Punk-ass bitches from the right call me Fredo." We heard all this. going to have a problem. After the men were broken up by others intervening, the man taunts Cuomo, "Look at all these cameras. You're in for it." I missed that. Did any of you guys hear that? I totally missed that. CNN has defended, this is what I wanted, CNN has defended Cuomo following the release of the video. As noted by the Daily Wire Monday night, a top PR official for the network, Matt Dornick, said in a tweet, Chris Cuomo defended himself when he was verbally attacked with the use of an ethnic slur in an orchestrated setup. We completely support him. So, threatening to throw someone down the stairs, fuck up their shit, pardon my language, he just said it, fuck up their shit and wreck their shit, those are cold, considered, rational responses to someone calling you a name that they may not know who you are. Because if you only listen to Rush or read John Nolte on Breitbart, you would only know that Cuomo's name is Fredo, because that's what they call him. Now, is that necessarily completely plausible? Possibly not, but there is an explanation there. David Von Kettering, he's a mook. I haven't heard mook in ages. I love it. I love it. David says, I threw somebody down the stairs once in 7th grade after being sucker punched. I got in big trouble. Yeah, I tossed a guy down a set of benches in the bleachers after he punched me in 7th grade. Oh, man. Wow, did I get in trouble. He did, too. Someone saw him throw the punch. But I'm not saying I'm a tough guy or anything like that, because I'm not. I'm an old, fat cripple. But at that time, I definitely won that fight. Let's just leave it at that. Yep, 7th grade is the trouble spot, David. Between you and I, we wrecked that grade. So, we completely support him. Now, Trump Jr., if I understand correctly from watching HB last night, Trump Jr. was the first major checkmark on Twitter to retweet this video. And it trended #1 for how long? Holy man, it went viral after a period of time, just completely viral. And I'm sure President Trump retweeting it didn't hurt. So block them all, Chris. Block them. Show us what a man you are. Block everybody. Fredo. Uncle Bobby says he projects, but he project, but he also attack. Work for a network, lies for paycheck. Very good. Very good. For those of you who can't read that, that was a direct quote from Chris Cuomo, talking about himself in the third person, and he can't use the word K after a silent C in any of those words. So paycheck is spelled CEHEC because of the idiocy involved. John Hartman, is Fredo still banging showgirls? What was that? 2 at a time? 3 at a time? I think there's not a lot of showgirls keeping Fredo busy at the bottom of, oh gosh, what lake is that again? Shoot, the big lake outside of Vegas. I should know this. Can't remember it. I want to say there's a T in the name. Anyway, so that's it, folks. It was fun, as always. Really glad you guys were here. Lake Tahoe. Thank you, John. Thank you. I knew y'all would come through. But real quickly, do you like the lack of lag in the response time between my speaking and when your chat comes up? I tried to reduce that as much as possible, and I think I finally got it right. David, what about the spillway for the Hoover Dam? Does that count? Or are you just being cute? And I know you've got a lot of winks in your nods, so I think you're just trolling me. Either way, it worked. So anyway, thank you all again. It was great having you here, as I said. Wonderful turnout. I won't even begin to try to name all of you. I would miss someone, and that would not be fair. You guys make my day. You really do. This would be so lonely without you, and I would not enjoy it nearly as much. David. And ending the stream on a high note. Thank you. All right. We'll cut it there. We'll cut it there. We can't do better than that. All right, folks. So, I am considering reading the release of documents from the Jeffrey Epstein preliminary hearing, or it may not be in the preliminary. It may have just been the charges against him from one of the victims. It was something like 2,000 pages. But I am thinking about doing that soon. So please leave a message here or in the comments after if you've had a time to think about it, and let me know what you would like. If I get just a few responses, I'll do it. But if nobody's interested in it, then I'll leave it alone. It's a huge project, of course, but I don't mind doing it. Oh, David, I would love to. That's a very kind offer. However, I am going to a meeting with my rifle club tonight, and I will be there all night. So these things last forever. Lots of boards, lots of reports. And this is our first meeting since June because we take July off. So, yeah, it's going to be a long night. But I really appreciate the offer. I will see if you guys are still on when I get back. Let me promise you that. I promise to check in when I come back. Bring the rifle club. Absolutely. All right, so everyone, thank you again. And until I see you again, be well. God bless. Happy trails. See you soon.
I hope I learned something. I hope I learned something. I hope I learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny days. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something. I hope you learned something from the stormy seas, from the brightest days, from the darkest nights, from the sunny